What up, man? It's your big brother, K-Rino. And as y'all see by the title, we're going to talk about boundaries. We always hear people talk about how you got to set boundaries. Set boundaries, set boundaries. We've been hearing that forever, and I would hope that most of us have a clear understanding of what that means because it's pretty basic and self-explanatory. But the problem is we make the mistake of not always putting it into action. We know what play we need to run, but we don't always execute the play. We don't run it right. So when you think about boundaries, people might think about, hey man, you gotta keep people out your house, and there's people out there that might try to jack you or rob you, so you gotta keep your distance. And yeah, and all that's factors in, all that's part of it. But I'm talking more so on a mental and spiritual level, even though the physical distance, the physical aspect as it relates to keeping your distance from somebody, that's part of the mental and spiritual level too, because keeping your distance from somebody physically protects you mentally a lot of times. So the reason why you want to set boundaries with people, because there are people that walk around here every day who are miserable, who are frustrated, who have what they call negative, toxic moods and behavior and attitude, and you don't want no part of that. You don't want to deal with that, man, because especially if you're a person that's trying to move in a positive direction, and that's just not something that sits well with the direction that you're trying to go. It's like cooking something, and somebody keeps trying to add an ingredient into what you're cooking that does not belong. It's not a part of that recipe, and it's gonna mess your food up. You don't want that around. So I will equate it to this. If you visualize yourself being at the grocery store, and sometimes when you're in line at the grocery store, there's a person in front of you and they have their items on the little belt thing that moves towards the cash register. And sometimes when you get to setting your stuff on that same thing, they will reach out and grab one of those little divider sticks, and they will place it in between their groceries and your groceries. This is so that your stuff won't get mixed up with theirs, and their stuff won't get mixed up with yours. So that's the principle that we got to take in life, because when you have people who are toxic, people who are negative, people who are nosy, people who are just invasive in different ways, and people who are problematic, you don't want your stuff getting mixed up with their stuff, and you definitely don't want theirs getting mixed up with yours. So you have to set that little divider down in between you. In this particular case, it's more of a symbolic thing. That divider is you keeping your distance from somebody. I don't mean you worried about them and you scared of them. It means that, look, for the better of all of us, I'm going to stay away from this person, and I'm going to make sure that this person stays away from me. Because there are people that we see every day, and they are dangerously opportunistic. And I use the word dangerously opportunistic because if we allow certain people to infiltrate our space and infiltrate our positive energy, then they will begin to drain and pour from and blood suck and draw from all of the things that you may have worked to build. And I don't always mean material things. Sometimes it takes us a while to build and reach a level of inner peace, and that you work to get to, and then somebody comes along and they're trying to destroy that. So you have to make sure that those dangerously opportunistic people stay out of your way. You keep a long, nice, safe distance from them. And you have to peep your surroundings, because the dangerously opportunistic people that you need to set boundaries with, they always on the alert, antenna always up, Always looking to see, whether it's at home, whether it's at school, whether it's at work, whether it's at church, wherever you go, there's somebody who's watching other people to see if there's any way that they can hit that blinker and get in that lane. See, to get in your lane to try to benefit off whatever it is that you're working to build. So it doesn't have to be a total stranger. It could be someone you've known all your life. And if it's somebody you've known and you know that that's how they are, then you really are out of line if you haven't put that stiff arm in their life a long time ago. So we have to be the same way. You got to watch the watcher. So you got to be the same way. You got to always be aware and looking to see, okay, let me peep this person out. Yeah, I'm watching how he moves. I'm watching how she moves. I'm watching how she thinks. I'm seeing how he pounces in on certain situations and tries to benefit from it. I know out the gate. How many of y'all are just like ever got a job or something, or moved into a new neighborhood and you don't know anybody, but you can always kind of see certain people how they move, and you're like, okay, I know to stay away from that one. Know not to say nothing to that one. You know, people that come to you and they start asking you personal stuff when they don't even know you. They asking you, hey man, what side of town you live on? Where you live? You know, all these different questions that you don't ask a person that you don't know like that. See? So you got to understand from the beginning, nah, dude, you got to back up. No disrespect, man, but I don't really talk about that type of stuff at work. No disrespect, man, but I live over here. I'm just doing my thing, man. I ain't really trying to interact like that, man. You know. But you also got to do it with people that you know. People that have been knowing you for the longest, because that's the most critical situation of all of them, because y'all are familiar with each other. There's a familiarity there, and they know exactly what you got and where you stand and this and that. They understand that. So you really have to cut. That's when you reach that point where you got to cut people off. And a boundary is different from cutting somebody off, because you can still deal with a person, but to an extent. So you have friends that say, okay, well, this is my friend, but I wouldn't use the word friend. I would say, you know, I'm cool with the guy. I know the guy. See the guy pretty regular, but I never invite him to my house. See, I'm cool with her. We good. We talk. We chit chat and all that. But I would never let her into certain levels of my personal business, because people are nosy, people are manipulative, and people try to use certain things later on down the line when they catch you in a vulnerable moment and you done poured your heart out and spilled all your beans, and they acted sympathetic and caring when they were listening to all that, but then when it hit the fan, they put it on blast. So you got to know how to set boundaries, man. And the last part, which is a sad part, sometimes you even have to do it with people who mean you no harm at all. You have to set boundaries on people for their own good, because you may have somebody who's clingy and who's going through some things, but it's self-imposed. They won't get their stuff together, and they keep coming to you and, oh man, see, man, she did it to me again, man, or he cheated on me again, whatever it is. And then you've been giving them sound advice, and it's like, dude, I already explained to you, but you don't want to listen. So now I gotta back up. I gotta back up off of you and let you work that out on your own. Let you figure out how to work that out. I'm gonna pray for you, but that's as far as I can go. So learn to set those boundaries, but more importantly, learn who they need to be set on, because you don't want to keep rocking back and forth with people who don't have it mentally together and they keep imposing it on you. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. Catch y'all later on, man. Peace and love.